Hi everybody, this is Joe from Photography by Joe. I just kind of wanted to put out my very first video on doing some light skin retouching on a face that actually has blemishes on it. As you can tell here, this image is it's probably you can't tell from here, but around this area, her face is kind of bumpy, you know, from wearing makeup and being stuck in a hot studio all day. Now, one thing I want to show is how to touch up the blemishes on a model's face using the healing brush. Here, let me zoom in just a little bit. Alright, so let me kind of zoom in here. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but there are some bumps and her skin's not as smooth as I would like it to be. I'm not a big fan of kind of making the skin look too porcelainy, but I'll show you how we can actually fix some of these blemishes. First thing I'd like to say, I'm not a Mac person, so I tend to not give out the commands or anything like that. I might say Alt and, you know, right click, and that's something you want to do right now. So you can Alt and right click, kind of zoom in, and first thing you want to do is you want to make a duplicate layer. We'll call this the skin. And you want to do all your touch-ups on a different layer than your background layer or your main layer. And the reason you want to do that, just in case you mess something up, you can actually go back and basically start from zero. I've been doing this for quite some time, and it's taken me a long time to actually learn Photoshop. The Photoshop that we're using right now is Photoshop CS5. Alright, so first thing we want to do is kind of select an area that looks kind of good, and we'll take that right there, and we'll just start kind of touching up the little spots where you can see exactly where there is quite a few blemishes. A lot of people like to shrink the brush down. I don't think that's necessary sometimes. What you need to do is actually just kind of get a good selection and then just kind of drag and click, drag and click, drag and click. I've seen other techniques where the photographer also uses the cloning tool, and they set the opacity down to let's say 15 or so, and they do it that way. This is my way of doing it. This is the easiest because I know a lot of people aren't into doing masks, or they don't know how to do masks, masking layers. This is easier for me. I'm not a big Photoshop guy. I don't, you know, pretend to be an expert at it, but as you can tell, I'm doing a pretty good job in a short amount of time. So I also use I have NIK Color Complete, or I'm sorry, NIK Complete, and that has basically the defined Vivenza, the HDR FX Pro 2. I also upgraded to Color Effects Pro and the Silver Effects and the sharpening. I tend to use Define 2.0 and then I go into my skin. So I do Define 2.0 and then skin, and then that makes the skin look more natural. Sometimes you have customers that, you know, they just totally hate the way their skin looks. Oh, let me go back here. They hate the way their skin looks, and they actually would like to get their blemishes removed, right? So, you know, give them the most natural looking skin you could possibly give them would actually help them out a bit. And you gotta forgive me, this is my first video. I'm not comfortable talking to a microphone and then trying to work. I tend to, you know, just sit back and jam and listen to my headphones while I'm working. And that kind of looks okay, right? You don't have to do all of the face, just kind of take some of the blemishes out. And then what we're going to do is, maybe take that right there. Gotta make the brush smaller for that. So what I'll end up doing is I will decrease the brush size. And I'll kind of click around the area and I will do that. Okay, so that looks good. So the face here looks good to me. Ooh. Don't like the way this is, but we can kind of fix that. So just remember to pick the really good spot, and just to use your cloning tool, or I'm sorry, your healing brush, and just kind of click and drag, and that should kind of clean things up. Right, so next thing we're going to do is, for those of you that have the NIK Complete package, good for you. I like to use it a lot. It saves me a lot of time. First thing I like to do is kind of hit Define 2.0, and that should pop up my Define 2.0 window. Alright, so it's analyzing, and then it actually automatically applies. And if you can see here, you can kind of see the difference between this side of the loop and this side of the loop. It kind of smoothens things out. Let's take a look at the way the face looks now after doing this. So we're kind of waiting for that to work itself out. And look at the face looks pretty nice. I mean, if you really wanted to do more to this, you can hit the skin filter on that, so that you can get your brush and you can kind of brush out the face a little bit more. I tend to like to go underneath the eyes, or actually, you know, let's actually turn this opacity down just a bit here. Let's try 22. Let's see how that looks. And there's some kind of rough areas that you can kind of go over and make the image look a little better. So it just doesn't look so bumpy. And let's go over the mouth just a little bit. And let's look at that. See? I mean, that looks good. I'm really impressed with that. I would actually, you know, I don't really do headshots too much, but I would probably go ahead and just stay with that, and just hit apply, and then just take a look at how the face is now. It looks way different than what it was before. I mean, there's still some little bumps in there, but you don't want to always take those out. Only because you know, your face looks a little bit porcelain, and you a lot of people like to look naturally. But if you got any questions, go ahead. You know, send me an email. You know, comment on this. Again, I apologize. This is my first video. I'm a little nervous, but go ahead and shoot me an email through YouTube or whatever, and I'll try to respond to you as best as I can. Again, I'm not too technical. This is stuff I've learned on my own, and it's taken me quite a few years. I started with CS4, and you know, slowly learned and did my own research and watched videos on my own. So a lot of the stuff I got was, you know, from years back on YouTube, and you know, brushing up on some of the knowledge that I got off of YouTube. One thing I do have to say, though, I'm sorry, one thing, I know I was going to end it, but one thing I do have to say is actually, you know, you can close these layers, so you might want to merge them down. And we can show the before and after of this image. So everything's on the skin layer, right? Remember? And this is what it would have looked like. So you're looking at, you know, quite a difference. I never like to merge down the skin layer, because I never know when I need to go back in there for something else. Again, if you guys got any questions, let me know. I'd be more than happy to help you guys out and gals out any which way I can. I was where you're at. I didn't know how to use Photoshop, and the only reason I'm doing this video is because one of the members of our photography group had a question. She basically said, hey, I have a hard time just kind of touching up blemishes, and I told her, you know what, I'll do a first video on that. So again, this is Joe from Photography by Joe, and happy photoshopping.